My name is Howie Schwartz. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Crowded. We're thrilled to be here, and we wanted to again thank Microsoft for hosting us. This is going to be just a great night. This is our fourth or fifth meetup that we've done, and I always start off with the same bad joke, which is, the room's crowded, which is why we named the company that. Again, it's wonderful that everyone's here. We have a great panel tonight that I'm going to ask to introduce themselves in a second, but I have to set a timer because apparently I was told my last panel was too long. So I'm going to try to fix that this evening to make sure that everyone has enough networking time. Great, so what we're going to do is we're going to ask the panelists to introduce themselves. Let's start with Darcy, and we're going to go all the way down. So your name, your title, what company you work with, and one fun fact about you.
Hey. Hi, my name is Kaela Diomede. I am a tech recruiter at Button, which is a mobile technology company. I recently joined the team there, was formerly at another startup called Grovo, which is in the e-learning space. A fun fact about me, I lived in West Africa for a period of time.
One of the main things that we're trying to do at Crowded, and the reason why we do these meetups is that we believe that even though everything that we do is happening in Crowded on your mobile device or through a chatbot, a conversational interface, what we realized is that there was a lot to gain and a lot of value that we could provide to the community by bringing people together in the physical world, which is kind of a different thing and a little odd these days. And this is also immensely helpful for us because the feedback that we get from our employers on the panels and the employers who attend and the candidates, all of you guys who come about your profiles and the type of trends that you're seeing really directs, our vision. So, I like to say that we gain as much from this meetup series as hopefully each of you will tonight. So one of the trends that we see is the concept of a disconnect between what the different levels of software developers would be. So one of the classic things that we hear, and raise your hand if you face this, where there's an entry level or a junior level developer position, and you read down it and it requires 10 years plus of experience. Raise your hand if you've experienced that. So that's, well over 3/4 of the room. So, it's hard in such a fragmented, industry to kind of standardize this, but we found that one of the ways that we can help the community at large is trying to get, sort of a better understanding of that, and that when we're doing matching, when an employer posts a job in Crowded, when we're doing matching and thinking about job recommendations and things like that, thinking about understanding the experience level is really important. So you may have all the right skills, but the experience level is really important. So I'd love to go down the panel. We're going to start with Darcy. So Darcy and Tyler are going to tag team the event for us tonight. So I may direct some questions to one or the other of you, but feel free again to jump in, Tyler or Darcy, if you'd like to add something to your colleagues. We're going to go straight down the panel to Aviva. Thank you. Okay. So your definition of what a junior developer is, number of years of experience, things like that.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off, what Darcy and Charlie both said, it's I think demonstrating what you've done in a portfolio is really something that, for me, makes it really easy when I'm looking at applications and profiles. And usually, a company has done leveling for what each level means. And to Charlie's point, a junior developer is someone who is not afraid to ask questions, who's looking for a mentor, who is not applying for a job to go in and have ownership. They're going into because they're eager to learn and they think that they have the skill set to do the job. And I think to Darcy's point too, it may not be actual tangible years, but it's what you've done and the quality of that work. So I think being able to highlight that as clearly as you can to the recruiter, and don't be afraid to send a recruiter a LinkedIn message. That's the best way to get my attention. And if you have your portfolio right then and there, that makes my job really easy.
So my next question is, and we're seeing this just increase, I'd say quarter over quarter over the past 2 years, is around bootcamps. So how many people in the room attended or graduated or is currently attending a coding-related bootcamp? Raise your hand nice and proud. So I never get this right. What is it? 20% or so? Interesting. Less than the last few meetups, which felt like it was a little bit more like 40, 50%. So we're gonna have to look at if that's seasonal around when the courses are happening, or see if that's trending downward through the summer. So I'll leave this open to anyone on the panel. If your company does hire from Bootcamps, I'd love to hear a little bit about that experience, and if you're evaluating those candidates in maybe a different way versus a candidate with a traditional CS degree.
I mean, I think it just depends on the organization that you're applying to. So make sure that, like, when you're targeting coming out of a boot camp, what your job search is going to look like look at the staging of a company. So that really can alter like whether or not a company is going to be open to hiring a full-time boot camp graduate. I know that Button is a relatively young company. It's pretty small right now. So we're more than open to welcoming boot camp internships, and we've extended those internships, into like some part-time jobs. But when we are targeted more towards senior roles, it might not be the perfect fit. So I think that when you're looking at your search, look at the size of the company and look at some of the scopes of the jobs and what that leveling is, going back to your initial point about the leveling and what they're looking for.
I'd love to hear about your recruitment process, and I know it could be a long conversation, so we'll try to condense it down into maybe even to include some of the timing and some of the steps. So someone starts and they fill out an application online. What's next? Is there a phone screen, in person? Sort of talk us through how someone gets hired in your firm, and maybe some timing in there too for each step.
Yeah, I think speed is definitely the name of the game, but I think also being like very thoughtful in your process is also really important. So we try to make an effort within the first 48 or 24 to 48 hours to get back to every candidate who applies, and whether that's moving forward or currently passing. We then move forward with a more like just an overview of the company, getting to know the candidate, understanding what you want to do, what you're looking for, because hiring is really a two-way street, right? Like you want to make sure that the candidate is going to be set up for success, and the company want to make sure that it's a good fit for them as well. So once we do sort of that initial screen, and that's usually with me or another member of the recruiting team, we move on to then a technical phone screen, and then it's a bit more of a technical deep dive. With someone like that, usually the hiring manager for that role. Upon that call, we move forward with a take-home challenge. So for all of our business roles and for our technical roles, we do a take-home. It's not supposed to take you, days. It's supposed to take you, maybe 2 to 3 hours at most. And this is actually what sets the whole premise of your on-site. So you bring that take-home to your on-site, and that really is what starts off the conversation for your first in-person meeting. We like you to meet with the whole team in one day, schedule permitting, of course. And so you meet with a whole panel of cross-functional individuals that you would be potentially working with. To really get a holistic view of like, would I want to work with these people, and could I see myself working with these people? Upon our on-site visit, we hire by committee. So we have a hiring council after we interview the person, and we get together as a hiring team and we discuss the feedback for the candidate. So this really helps prevent bias from our hiring managers, like pushing someone down the funnel that, they may be super keen on trying to hire. It really keeps everyone aligned on like what we're looking for in this role and what, the strengths of the candidate were and where we could really see them excelling. And then we move to reference checks beyond hiring council, and then we move forward with an offer. So our process might be a little bit longer, but I'd like to think it's very, very thoughtful and very thorough.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of just quick answers. We're going to run down the panel, and I have a few different questions that's going to be at each stage. So Joe's giving me is that 4 or 5 minutes? Without my glasses, I can't see. All right, thank you for the 5 minutes. I can't see the difference. All right, so we're going to go really, really quickly. So we're going to start at the application step. And let's start with Darcy, and then we're going to go straight down. So give me one thing that a candidate can avoid in an application that immediately is just going to not get them to progress to the next step. Give me like one, I know there's a million things. Give me one example that everyone can go home and when they apply for a job tonight, not do that one thing. We're gonna go straight down the panel really quick.
Make sure your cover letter, if you're going to write one, is addressed to the right person, because you'd be surprised by how many times I get other companies' cover letters. I think typos and just clarity in your work. Like when there's a lot of graphics going on and it's confusing to just see what your experience is, sometimes you get lost in applications. So for me, it's really just clarity. Like, and back to your point, like simple bullet points. I don't need like a whole saga. I just need to understand like the key takeaways that get to a granular level of what you actually did.
We're going to just do one quick funny example. So give us something crazy that happened on a screening phone call that you suggest someone never does. So they got through the application and now they're on a call with you and something was said or something happened and you're like, oh my God, and then, that no one in the room should do.
Yeah, I had a candidate just yesterday who applied inbound and told me at the end of the call that they actually weren't interested in the job. This is a job that they had applied for. We had multiple correspondences back and forth. So if, time is valuable for both you and me. So I think like if you're going to get on a call with someone and I'm going to go in to telling you, passionately about what we do and like selling you this opportunity, make sure you want the job. And if you don't, then don't take the call, because it's really frustrating, but it's also like, well, why are we even talking about this in the first place? So just look at the job description before you get on a call.